Good morning, everybody. It's actually afternoon now. We're just a few seconds in. My name is Jaclyn Chernett, and I'm very much associated with EAJL. I'm very, very thrilled that my colleague Chazan Jaclyn Chernett and her wonderful team here this morning, led by the wonderful Moria Ferrus in Barcelona. Hi, Moria. Has brought EAJL online again. And this morning we're starting with Morenu Chazan Stephen Robins, my teacher, Chazan Stephen Robins, who I had the privilege of studying with for many years. And it's a wonderful thing that he's bringing this session this morning, which will start now really and finish at 1:15. I would say that Moria, everybody is muted on purpose so that Chazan Robins can be heard. And if you have any questions, the best thing to do would be to put it in the chat. I would also say a huge welcome to everybody. People are here from all over the world. Young friends, old friends, participants in our programs. And we do hope to see you, by the way, in July in Oxford, if you can come to our wonderful retreat. So without further ado, I'm going away and handing over to my teacher, Chazan Stephen Robins. Steve, you're muted. Can't hear you.
That's better, I think. Yes, that's the most common phrase so far, isn't it? I can't hear you. I hope everybody else can. Okay, I'll start again and say I'm delighted to be here to present this program, which I've done on several occasions over the years. And every time I look at it, I get excited and I have to refresh my memory because there's so much really to do, which is very nice. Okay, so we're going to start with the Haggadah. The Haggadah that I use, for those that might have it, is this one. And it's the Katav, and it's a paperback, and it's very inexpensive. And the great thing about it is it has page and line numbers. So if you get stuck, it was sort of the beginner's guide to conducting a Seder service. It did very, very well in the early days. Okay, so it starts with the order of the Passover Seder. And here it comes. I hope. Welcome to the Singing Haggadah.
The Seder is made up of 14 individually named sections listed on page 4, and you can sing them while you're waiting for the Seder to begin.
Okay, there is actually another melody. Whilst you're waiting for the Seder to start, it's very good. And actually, you could probably have a competition with your children, if you've got some, that they can see how fast they can sing this. And it's always a race, and it's a lot of fun. It goes like this. Which is a very fast, quick way of getting into the order of the service. And again, as I say, speed is one of the things that we like to do and race each other, see who can get the Hebrew right and who can do it the fastest. I'll do it one more time, just a little slower so that you can get it properly. Kadesh Orchatz Karpasya Chatz Magid Rochsa Matzi Motza Marosha Korech Shochonoretsa Fumbarech Sar. Okay, and then they go breakneck speed. Lot of fun. Okay, so let's start us off on the right footing, I hope. Okay, here we go. Track 2.
Please stamp the Kiddush on page 5, starting at line 8 through to the end of page 6.
I'm just pausing for a moment because this year it is actually going to go on Friday night. And you do the normal Friday night, okay, and then you start with the bracha, which I'll start that again.
Please stamp the Kiddush on page 5, starting at line 8 through to the end of page 6.
I'm only listening.
Just a quick word there about the fact that it's Friday night and there are extra words to put into the text of the bracha for wine. And I'll tell you how to do that. If you've got extra words, don't try and squash them all in. Make space for the additional words, and I'll show you how we do that. It starts, Vatiten lanu, Hashem Elokeinu, b'ahava, Shabbatot lemnucha, moadim l'simcha, chagim izman musosom, et yom hashab, et yom hashabbat hazeh, v'et yom hakamatzot hazeh, zeman cheruteinu, b'ahava mikra kodesh, zeichet b'tziach mitzrayim, kivanu v'charta, v'yetanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim. V'shabbat moadei kodshecha, v'ahava u'v'ratzon, v'simcha u'v'sason, enchaltanu. Baruch atah Hashem, mekadesh hashabbat v'Yisrael, v'hazmanim. So I gave you a way just to put those extra words in without squashing it all up. The big fault a lot of people do is they try and put it all in and don't make space for it. So that's the guide really to do that. Moving on. Here we go.
The Shehechianu is on page 7, line 9, after which you may sit down. Baruch atah Hashem, Eloheinu melech haolam, Shehechianu v'himanu v'hegianu l'astan hazeh. A bracha for the vegetable is on line 12. Baruch atah Hashem, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei ha'adamah. The Passover story now begins with Halachma on page 8, followed by the 4 questions in the large print on line 5. Halachma, halachma anya, diachalu, achalu v'chatana, le'ara, le'Mitzrayim, le'ara, le'Mitzrayim, kol lefin yeteh v'yechul, kol nitzrich yeteh v'yifsach. Shebachol halelot anochim shayerakot halayla hazeh maror halayla hazeh maror Shebachol halelot ekam matfilin afilu pa'am echad halayla hazeh shetei ba'amim halayla hazeh shetei ba'amim Shebachol halelot anochim ben yoshvin ubein mesubin halayla hazeh kulanu mesubin halayla hazeh kulanu
There is an alternative Manish Tanakh, one that is very, very old. I learned this, almost ashamed to say, well, not ashamed, proud to say, over 70 years ago, when I was in Haggadah, when I was a little boy. And we did it, I think, is a more traditional manishtana, as opposed to the one we just did. We'd go something like this. Manishtana, manishtana, halayla hazeh. Manishtana, manishtana, halayla hazeh. Shebachol halelot, anu ochlin chametz umatzah, halayla hazeh, chametz umatzah. Manishtana, manishtana, and so on. So, and then I'll just do the last one. So we've got it. Shebachol halelot, manishtana, manishtana. Manishtana, manishtana, halayla hazeh. Manishtana, manishtana, halayla hazeh. Shebachol halelot, anu ochlin ben yeshvinu ve'mesubin, halayla hazeh, kulanu mesubin. Fine, just fill it up again. Manishtana, manishtana, halayla hazeh. Manishtana, manishtana, halayla hazeh. And on we go.
The answer starts with Abadim Hayinu on lines 7 to 13. Abadim Hayinu lefago b'Mitzrayim v'yotzeinu Hashem Elokeinu misham. V'yad hazaka u'Yisro ha'netuya u'Yisro ha'netuya ve'ilu lo tzip hakadosh baruch hu et avotenu miMitzrayim. Harei, 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 anu u'banenu u'banei banenu Meshubatim hayinu lefaro b'Mitzrayim. V'hafilu kulanu hakadim, kulanu nevonim, kulanu zakenim, kulanu yodim et haTorah. Mitzvahenu lesamchem letziat Mitzrayim. V'hora hamarpeh lesamchem letziat Mitzrayim. Harei, 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 zeh meshubach, zeh meshubach. Harei, 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 zeh meshubach.
That surprise is a nice one, actually, which I composed many years back. And it was an idea to get the kids saying hooray, hooray. It's not exactly in the spirit of the actual Avadim Hayinu. It does get this, the interest of the kids singing something along, and one word that they can do very well. Okay, and from there we move on. The next piece, actually, Ma'aseh Rabbi Eliezer, there is actually a very nice English song which I want to do at this point, which goes like this. Of Rabbi Eliezer, a story is told of Rabbi Yeshua, the scholar of old, Elazar ben Azariah, Akiva the sage, and Tarfon for wisdom, renowned in his age. In Bnei Barak they had Seder dined well, the whole long night through the old tale did retell, how God in his power humbled Egypt's great might, and brought out our people from darkness to light. Whilst they were held fast by the wondrous old story, dark night passed away and dawn came in its glory. Then entered their pupils, our rabbis, they say, 'tis time for Shema, for behold, it is day. Well, as we know, it's supposed to stay awake till midnight and beyond to study it. You can never spend enough time discussing it all. But there's a nice, lovely English song, which, in actual fact, there was a children's Haggadah, a big blue one, which had pull slides that you could slide across. It had things like a young boy ducking under the table and getting the afikoman and coming back up again. You did it all with a slide piece of paper on this particular Haggadah. And we move on to the next piece.
We continue with Baruch HaMakom on page 10, line 10, Vehi She'amda on page 12, lines 1, 2, and 3, and on page 19, Dayenu. Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Shenatan Torah, Yamo Yisrael, Baruch Hu. Keneged Arba Avanim, Dibra Torah, Echad Chakam, Echad Shlosham, Echad Tam, Echad Shemo Yodel Vishon. Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Shenatan Torah, Yamo Yisrael, Baruch Hu.
Great fun to sing that one. And sometimes I sing it at least 2 or 3 times because the kids just love that one. It reminds us actually of a time when one of my family thought they'd heard it before and we couldn't figure out where she said she'd heard it in Disney World in America. I think it was Orlando. And we thought, no, it can't be. Actually, when we got there, eventually, a few years later, we heard it's a small, small world. Da, 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 dum, dum, da, 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 dum, dum. So she'd actually confused the two. But actually, she had a good memory for something that went back a long time. And I thought a little anecdote I'd like to share with you. Okay. Okay, further down on the Dayenu section, on line 16, you've got a lot of words. How do you squash that all in? Well, as I said earlier, if you make space, it does work like this. Okay, so we've got the whole line in there, and we're just using all the music there. And so instead of repeating words, we've got it all in. I'll do it again. So we go to the next one. So there you go. There's two different lines there to get it all squashed into the music, and that's the easy way to do that. The next paragraph, actually, although in the Kitab Master I've got, in Haggadah, this whole thing has been put down into like this. And the wonderful thing about that is it's a précis of what we've just sung. So, for example, if you do the first one, it's so this one, Hotsianu Mitrayim, and there it is, Hotsianu Mitrayim. And all those particular sentences that we've got, the full sentences now is being précised. And you could do it in some way, however you want to do it, so perhaps just all in one straight line. Hotsianu Mitrayim, Asavam Shavatim, Asab Elohem, Bahagim, or perhaps go it up on the scale a little bit, just some thought just now. And so on. So you can sort of zug your way through, and you can make up sort of a little ditty as well musically if you find something you can do. Okay, and moving on. I'm sorry about the jingling, that's our front door. Someone's just come past. Okay. I don't know if you heard that, but it's annoying. Okay, here we go.
After B'tzeit Yisrael on page 25, line 5, are 5 brachot, which start at page 26 through to line 10 on the next page, and they're the prelude to the festive meal. B'tzeit Yisrael mi Mitzrayim, Beit Yaakov me'am lo'ez, Hayata Yodan Yisrael Namshelotam, Hayam Rahavos, Hayadren Yisov Lachor, Harim Rakdo Kelim, Yamot Kivne Itzon, Magna Hayam Kitanos, Hayadren Tisov Lachor, Harim Tirkadu Kelim, Yamot Kivne Itzon, Milibne Anon Achuli Haaretz, Milibne Lo Yaakov, Havofi Hatzor Hagamayim, Halamish Lamayim Lomayim. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al achilat matzah. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al achilat maror. Grace after meals, the benching, is on page 28 through to page 33. Shir hamalot b'shuv Hashem, v'shivas zion hayinu b'chavim, az yemalei tzvon ilu, u'shateinu rina, az yamru ha'goyim, iktil Hashem, v'asod yemelech, iktil Hashem, v'asod imanu, v'ayinu samechim. Hashem, Esheviteinu, Afikim b'Negev, Asonim v'Tima, v'Rina yibsaru. Shalom yelekum hakom, Yosef neshem hazana, Olam marina, Yosef alu
Okay, so Shir Hamalot, and if you've got guests and they come from different places around the world, one can actually do different types of Shir Hamalot. One of my favorites, actually, I did this for a whole host of Italian people that came, and I was racking my brains, what can I do different just to actually include them in a melody they might know? And I came up with this. Shir Hamalot b'shuv Adonai, et shivat Zion hayinu kecholmim, az yimale sachokinu, u'shoneinu rina. Az yomru v'goyim, Higdil Adonai lasot melech, Higdil Adonai lasot imanu, hayinu samechim. Shuva Adonai et shaviteinu, kafikim b'negev, hazorim b'tima. Verina Yixoru. Yelech Uvacho no se meshech hazara bo yavo verina no se alumutar. There are other things that you can do too. One of my favorites, actually, because actually we're going to talk about Haggadah and we talk about a goat, I thought, how about doing Paddy McGinty's goat? Shiramal Beshuva Dunai, Shivati on the Yinakomim, as Yimal is hoping, Hushanina, as Yamruva Goyim, Mictiladonai Lazotimela, Mictiladonai Lazotimaru, Ayinu Samechem, Oshuvadonai, Chevitenu, Kafikim Banaka, Azorim Badimo, Barina Yixoru. No se meshech hazara, bo yom v'agina, no se alumotav. It's done to many things. Waltzing Matilda, Shir Hamal, B'shuva Shemet, and so on. And if you're Scottish, we could do Shir Hamal, B'shuva Shemet, Shimasi Yonoinu Kakomi, Malsimale, Sakopinu, Ulshoneinu Lihina, Aziaruva Goyim, Hicteladonai La Sotimela, Hicteladonai La Sotimanu, Ayinu Samechim. And so on. So there's another one. So you've got a choice. You might have your own favorites that you can do. There's one other I think of, or maybe not. Okay, so let's move on. Virshut maranam rabotai, navarech Elokeinu, she'achanu mishelo. Baruch Elokeinu she'achanu mishelo, ubetuvo chayinu. Baruch hu u'baruch shemo.
Elokeinu, אנחנו מודיעים לך, ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ככתוב ואהבת ושבעת וברכת את השם אלוקיך על הארץ הטובה אשר נתן לך. ברוך אתה השם על הארץ ועל המזון. רחם נא השם אלוקינו על ישראל עמך, ויד ירושלים יראך, ויד ציון משכן כבודך, ועל מלכות בית דוד משיחך, ועל הבית הגדול והקדוש שנקרא שמך עליו. אלוקינו אבינו ואלוהינו שונאינו, פרנסנו וכלכלנו והרגיחנו והרבח לנו השם אלוקינו מהרה מכל צרותינו. ונער תצמיחנו השם אלוקינו לא לידי מתנת בשר אדם ולא לידי אהבתם, כי אם בידך המלאה הפתוחה הקדושה והרמה שלא נבוש ולא נקדם לעולם ועד. אלוקינו ואלוקי אבותינו, יעלה ויבוא ויגיע ויראה וירסה וישמע ויפגד ויזכר זיכרוננו וקטוננו וזיכרון אבותינו וזיכרון משיח בן עבדך וזיכרון ירושלים עיר קודשך וזיכרון כל בית ישראל לטובה לכם החסד והרחמים לחיים ולשלום ביום חג המצות הזה. זכרנו השם אלוקינו בו לטובה ופקדנו בו לברכה והושיענו בו לחיים טובים. ובדבר ישוע ברחמים חוס בחננו ברחם עלינו והושיענו כי אליך עינינו כי כמלך חנון ורחום ובני ירושלים עירך קודש במהרה לימינו ברוך אתה השם בונה ברחמיו ירושלים ברוך אתה השם אלוקינו מלך העולם האל אבינו Hashem Yevarech et Amo Shalom. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafel. Selections from Hallel start on page 34, line 10.
Before we do that, I just have a little anecdote about the next part there. Shafok HaMatacha El HaGoyim. At this point, we fill the fourth cup of wine and we open the door for Elijah the prophet. And my youngest, my daughter Panina, I think probably about 6 or 7, she said, I'm going to go to the door, I'm going to open it. And this is about 10 o'clock at night. And I said, okay. So she went out to the dining room, went to the hall and opened the door, and we heard this shriek. I thought, my God, what's happened? What is she saying? What's going on? So needless to say, we all got off our chairs very fast, went out to the hall and went to the front door. And there, standing, was a man. It actually, we used to do something called the pools, and he used to come every Thursday night for the money for the pools. And we'd forgotten that it was Thursday night and that he was coming for the money. And of course, at that particular moment, he hadn't just rung the doorbell. He just about got there when the door opened, and there was my daughter, who shrieked because she got quite a shock. And I think it was a rather stunning episode that my daughter sort of, after she calmed down and realized what it was. No, it was not Elijah the prophet. Okay, relax. So I thought I'd share that with you because it's an amusing story. Okay, so we move on. Just a second. Certainly, when it comes to that, we should actually really say that all very loud. Shivach HaMatacha El HaGoyim, Asher Lo Yada'ucha Ve'alma Melachot, Asher V'Yemcha Lo Yikara'u. Achal et Yaakov v'yet Nevehu Heishamu. Difficult Hebrew. Shafach Aleihem Zamecha v'Charon Apacha Yisigim. Terdov Ba'af Tashidem V'Tachat Shemei Hashem. Well, I think if there's any point now that was ever so poignant as well, of course, what's going on in Ukraine. I think that's a sort of thing there that we ought to bear in mind. That there's an evil going on in Ukraine that, well, we just know that it's going to end in not a very nice way. And we can see, I mean, the number of people who have died already on both sides is very tragic. And on it goes. Okay, let's move on from that. I think it was Hallel, just a moment.
Continue with the large print on page 35 and then page 36, lines 7 to 15. Hashem Asachakanu Yevarech, Yevarech et Beit Yisrael, Yevarech et Beit Aharon, Yevarech Yirei Hashem, Katanim V'Hagolim, Yosef Hashem Alechem, Alechem Ve'Adoneichem, Beruchim atem Hashem, Osei Shamayim va'aretz. Hashamayim Shamayim laHashem, va'aretz natam libnei Adam, lo hamlitim yahalleluka, v'lo kol yudei tuma, va'anachnu nevareka. Now, Kilo Na'eh. It's on page 41, and it's followed by the last bracha for wine on page 42.
Before we get on to that, what we did in former years when the children were quite small, whilst we were serving the meal and cleaning the plates and then bringing other bits of food and so on out, we actually sang the songs. So there's no need actually to wait until you've had your afikomen. You can start singing the things like Adirhu and Kilo Noeh and so on. So they've got about 3 big songs there that you can do, so that it doesn't actually sort of make the service, Seder, go on till midnight and beyond. So there's a usually hiatus while the food is being served and whilst people are eating and so on. And you can actually sing the songs. You don't have to wait right the way until you've had the afikomen. So it's an easy way around getting the thing to finish a bit earlier. So where were we now? Okay, let's go back. Here we go. Just another word about that. If you look very closely at it, you can see that it's an alphabetical acrostic. You've got Adir, then Melucha, which is Alpha and then Bet, then Gimel, and then the next one is Dagol Melucha, Hador, so Dalet, Hey, and then Vatik. So and on it goes, going through the alphabet until you get through to the end. It's the way actually over the centuries when we didn't have printed machzorim or Haggadot and so on, they used to do these things from memory. And they did an aid memoir, they used the alphabet, and sometimes they did it backwards as well. One of the most common ones, which you may probably have noticed or when you do regular davening on Shabbat, the Tikanta Shabbat Ratita Koronatecha, immediately after the Kedusha on Musaf on Shabbat morning, it's a backwards acrostic. Tikanta Shabbat, Tafshir, Tikanta Shabbat, Ratita Koronatecha Resh, Ratita Koronatecha, Kaf, and it goes all the way down until you get to the Aleph. There are others as well, actually. Again, also a memoir. This one a bit more different, but something called an atbash. Atbash, nothing to do with banging someone on their head with a hat. It's actually doing the reverse way around. You do Aleph and Taf, Bet, Rish, and then Gimel, and well, you've got the Rish, and then yes, anyway, that you do is get the 4 letters, the last letters, and you match them up with Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, and so on. So this way, again, it's an aid memoir. You can then remember tefillot. But the most common ones actually are alphabetical, straightforward, and some of them backwards, like the Tikanta Shabbat, and so on. And the tefillah for a lot of services, particularly Yom Noraim, are alphabet-based, so that we can remember them much better. Okay, so let's move on.
Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, borei peri ha'kafel. The conclusion of the Seder on page 43 has been set to the tune of the Haggadah. L'shana ha'am Yerushalayim, 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 L'shana ha'am Yerushalayim.
Interestingly, on the next page is Adir Hu. And I don't know quite why they put Hasal Siddur Pesach Gilchato at this point, because it really isn't quite the end of the Seder service. So anyway, that aside, so we're not finishing, we've still got Adir Hu to come. Here we go.
The last three Pesach songs begin with Adir Hu on page 44, then Chad Yodea, and finally Haggadah. Adir Hu, Yivne Beito Bekaro, Yema'era, Yameinu Bekaro. El B'nai Becha Bekaro. La'orhu, Yivne Beito Bekaro, Yema'era, Yameinu Bekaro. El B'nai Becha Bekaro. Adorhu, Batikhu, Sakaihu, Chasidhu, Yivne Beito Bekaro, Yema'era, Yameinu Bekaro. El B'nai Becha Bekaro.
Just to know before on to the next one, what you can do is, if you're running short of time and people are getting a bit tired and restless, you can actually do more of the words. All they've got is Adir Hu, Yivne Beito, but you can do Adir Hu, Bachur Hu, Gadol Hu, Hador Hu, Vatik Hu, Zakai Hu, Chasid Hu, Lifnei Beito Bekaro. So you can do a lot of the words and so on. So you can cut the amount of singing time on that, probably about 3 or 4 minutes, which might be useful if you need that sort of time. Okay, let's move on.
Echad Yodea, Echad Yodea, Echad Elokeinu, Echad Elokeinu, Echad Elokeinu, Sheva Shamayim
Shnayim Yodea, Shnayim Ani Yodea, Shnei Luchot Habrit, Echad Elokeinu, Echad Elokeinu, Echad Elokeinu, Shema Shamayim U'Haaretz, Shlosha Yodea, Shlosha Ani Yodea, Shlosha Avot, Shnei Luchot Habrit, Echad Elokeinu, Echad Elokeinu, Echad Elokeinu, Shema Shamayim U'Haaretz, Shlosha Asar Yodea, Shlosha Asar Ani Yodea, Shlosha Asar Mitaya, Shnei Masa Shetaya, Echad Asar Kofaya, Asara Debraya, Tishaya Helena, Shmona Yemei Mila, Shiva Yemei Shabaka, Shisha Sidrei Mishnah, Chamisha Chumshei Torah, Arba Imachot, Shlosha Avot, Shnei Luchot Habrit, Echad Elokeinu, Echad Elokeinu, Echad Elokeinu, Shema Shamayim U'Haaretz. Haggadah, 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 Haggadah. This Ba'apa Trezose, Haggadah, Haggadah. Diata Shunrok, Diata Lalegadia, this Ba'apa Trezose, Haggadah, Haggadah. Diata Halba, Nasha Shunava, Diata Lalegadia, this Ba'apa Trezose, Haggadah, Haggadah. Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Shachat Malach HaMavet, Shachat Shofet, Shachat Torah, Shachat Maya, the Hava, the Nura, the Sarah, the Hutra, the Hikka, the Halaba, the Rasha, the Sugar, the Yakala, the Gadia, this man Alpha, Bitre, so say,
Okay, and finally, there is on the website, you've got the Seder editions all in English. On the back page, there is the Song of Moses, which is absolutely brilliant. And I don't think there's time to do it now, but that certainly is worth looking at. It gives the whole story from Moses being found in the ark and floating down the Nile and being rescued by the princess from the palace and taken into the palace and so on, and the right way through story until the end, when the Israelites were safe from further flights and so on, and then when they're getting the 10 Commandments and there will be no more slaves. So that's the whole story. There's about 6 or 7 verses, and it's all done to she'll be coming on the mountain when she comes. So it's very useful, and you can find it on the website. Okay, there we are. Thank you very much indeed for coming online. And I tell you, I wasn't doing much singing. Well, I'm exhausted just listening to myself on the CD.
Steve, spot on time. Thank you so much for, first of all, such a full and action-packed and music-packed program. It's just a joy to have your voice, to hear your gorgeous, gorgeous, lovely voice, and your amazing piano accompaniment to yourself, which is the most difficult thing on earth to do. People can access your website. Can you say anything about, because this is a CD, And we've got the recording, of course,
Yes.
of this session that people.
Okay. I think it's very difficult to get the CD organized now. I've got it, but I haven't got the time to deal with it because we're going to Israel very, very shortly. But I'm hoping to put it also on my website. I'm going to have it downloaded so you could just be able to download it all. Okay, so if you missed out on that and you didn't get it all recorded properly, you'll be able to get it online. Okay, so that's something I'm going to see to as soon as I get to Israel. My son is the operates the CD for me, the website, so I'll get him to upload all of that. And therefore, if you want it, well, thank you very much indeed. You can. Okay.
Wonderful. Chag Sameach, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
And Rabbi Chaim Ovadia will be coming on at 2 o'clock.
Can I say just one thing, Zaki? Jackie, that you said about me playing the piano. Indeed, I do, and very well. But in actual fact, the accompaniment there was done by Stephen Glass.
Oh,
Musical director of many, many years, and I had to give him some credit for all of it. I mean, we recorded this a long time ago, and it was an absolute joy. It was always very great to work with, you know. Or would pick up in case there was a word milel mira and so on. You may notice that the Hebrew has been all corrected. It may not be quite the way you sing it, but if you listen to it, you've got the correct Hebrew. And incidentally, too, if you have other tunes that you have, if you're doing a second day, you can please don't forget those that you've done before. So if you've got a second day that you're doing, because I know some people don't, but if you do, you've got more songs to sing, that's even better still. So just refresh your memory for all of that. So I think that's the final word I need to say now. And thank you very much for coming on. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.